Welcome to the Duathlon Show. On this episode, what NBA player would make the best duathlete? It's NBA Finals time as I record here in late May 2023. If you're like me, then you love the sport of basketball. But even if you don't, then you've probably heard of the National Basketball Association. The NBA has some of the most athletic humans to currently stroll the face of the earth, and it's truly a league of global superstars. Since the NBA has so many athletic guys, it got me thinking about which pro basketball player would make the best duathlete. I like to ask myself fun questions like this. In this episode, I'm going to bounce around a few ideas as to which player it might be. Let's ball! So, we know that speed is a big component of duathlon success. A duathlon is a race, after all. An NBA game lasts 48 minutes. That is shorter than all but the shortest of sprint duathlon events. But consider all the explosive little efforts in a basketball game. All the leaping, changing directions, all the time spent knees bent in a defensive position. All of these qualities require speed, power, and flexibility. All good for duathlon. Of course, pro basketball players are huge, massive shoulders, really tall guys. But I bet you with their core strength and stability that these guys would be great on a bike. After all, we do have the example of professional road cyclist Filippo Ganna of Italy. He's a two-time world champion in the time trial and the current hour record holder. He is 6 feet 4 inches, or 1.93 meters tall, and 82 kilograms, or 181 pounds heavy. He's fairly good on the bike, I would say, being the two-time world champion. And at 6'4", he's actually the perfect height to play point guard in the NBA. A few of the NBA players that I'm going to mention in this episode are actually smaller than Filippo Ganna. So in terms of measuring speed in the NBA, the league actually has us covered. NBA arenas employ a system of cameras which provide super accurate player tracking data. We can therefore see such stats as total distance traveled over an entire season or average speed. I'll be using these stats to help answer today's question of what current NBA player would be best at the Run Bike Run event. The first NBA player that I'll mention as a candidate for the potential best duathlete would be Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell, nickname Spida, height 6'1", weight 215 pounds. That's 185 centimeters or 97 kilograms. Mitchell is a 4-time NBA All-Star and significantly won the NBA Slam Dunk Contest in 2018. Donovan Mitchell's average speed in the 2023 NBA regular season was 3.74 miles per hour or 6 kilometers per hour. One metric to look at that really puts in perspective how fast Donovan Mitchell is would be the 3/4 court sprint at the NBA Draft Combine. An NBA floor is 94 feet long or 28.7 meters. 3/4 of that is 21.5 meters or 70.5 feet. He ran this distance, 70.5 feet, in 3.01 seconds. At the time, that was the fastest time at the Combine since 2008. So you can tell, Spida Mitchell is fairly fast. And with his leaping ability as shown by his win in the NBA Slam Dunk Contest, you just know he'd have the type of explosivity that you need coming out of T1 and T2, getting on the bike, or smashing that last run. Next NBA player up is De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings. He is 6'3" and 185 pounds. That's 190 centimeters and 83 kilograms. He is 25 years old. Nickname, Swipa. Swipa the Fox was measured on a television program called ESPN Sports Science. On that program, when measured, it took De'Aaron Fox 1.3 seconds to run from a standstill at the 3-point line to the baseline. That was 15% faster than NBA superstar Kyrie Irving running the same drill. It took Fox 1.0 seconds to get from half court to the free throw line. De'Aaron Fox's average speed in 2023 was 4.17 miles per hour or 6.7 kilometers per hour. And it's not just speed for these NBA players, it's also coordination. Keep in mind that these guys aren't sprinting down the court in an NBA game without the ball. They're sprinting down the court in an NBA game with the ball. Having the coordination to do those two things at one time will surely prepare these guys for the hectic and delicate action that occurs in Transition 1 and Transition 2 during a duathlon. If these players are using clipless pedals, they will have to change shoes both times. And of course, put your helmet on and off. I think De'Aaron Fox would be a pretty good candidate to be a fast duathlete. The next player I'm going to nominate for potential best duathlete is Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant's average speed in 2023 was 4.05 miles per hour. That's 6.5 kilometers per hour. Ja Morant is a two-time NBA All-Star and was the 2020 NBA Rookie of the Year. In his last year of college basketball in 2019, he led the nation in average assists. This playmaking ability would definitely serve him well in a duathlon, especially in Transition 1. You're running back into the transition area, and you have to be able to pick out your bike from a big group of them all racked up together. That requires elite court vision. The next NBA player I'm going to mention is Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Clocking in at 6'4" in height and 225 pounds, that's 193 centimeters, or 102 kilograms, Anthony Edwards is 21 years old. He goes by the nickname Ant-Man. Anthony Edwards had an average speed of 3.96 miles per hour, that's 6.4 kilometers per hour. Anthony Edwards was the first overall pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, and this year was a first-time selection to the NBA All-Star team. Anthony Edwards is what's called a natural athlete. This is the type of guy that could play any sport in existence if you gave him a week or two to learn the rules. He would go pro in that sport within 6 months, I guarantee you. He played football and baseball as a child, in addition to basketball. And it seems like he could have gone pro in either of those two sports as well, because apparently he was one of the best youth football players in the nation at age 10. That's a sentence with 3 citations on his Wikipedia article, so it must be true. I'd love the opportunity to explain the rules of duathlon to Ant-Man and then maybe become his coach for a week and prep him for a race and then send him out there at a short distance duathlon and see how well he could do. Within 6 months, we could make this dude U.S. National Duathlon Champion and then send him to World Championships. I guarantee you. I'm not so sure that'll ever happen. Ant-Man's current career in the NBA probably provides a little bit more money than being an elite duathlete. We discussed in a previous episode about how much money the world champion of duathlon makes. Refer to that earlier episode if you want to learn more. But I can tell you right now exactly how much Anthony Edwards gets paid. The number 1 pick in the NBA draft, which is who Anthony Edwards was in the 2020 draft, gets a 4-year guaranteed $44.3 million rookie contract. So that means he will get $13.5 million in the upcoming final season of his contract. Considering that, if I was his agent, I would not recommend he switch sports to be a duathlete. Okay, so Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, Ja Morant, and Anthony Edwards. Those are my candidates for the NBA player that might make the best duathlete. You may be wondering, where's LeBron James, where's Steph Curry, where's Joel Embiid, where's Giannis? All those players are excellent, but I'm choosing the best duathlete here. Those players I mentioned are better than the 4 I've nominated as the best duathlete candidates. I've chosen young guys in general, explosive athletes, people who can really leap, people who I know are fast, people who I know are strong and would have good balance on a time trial bike or a regular bike in a duathlon. These are the sort of players I'm looking for in my fantasy NBA duathlete. Not players like Steph Curry or LeBron James who have talents that make them the best of the best, but do not have talents that necessarily make them the fastest at this very moment. So out of those 4 players that I did nominate, who would be the best duathlete? Let's make a decision. For me, it's going to have to be Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man. Ultimately, I'm choosing him out of a very tough field because of his versatility. I'm convinced he could have gone pro in the MLB or the NFL, So considering that, I think he could go pro in the world of duathlon too. So Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, he is my NBA best potential duathlete. If you have someone else in mind, a different NBA player that you think would be the best in the run bike run sport, let us know at TheDuathlonShow@gmail.com. Next up, honorable mentions. Speed, power, and flexibility are not the only three athletic skills that matter in duathlon or in the NBA. Endurance is also key in both sports. So an honorable mention must be made for MacLeod Bridges of my favorite team, the Brooklyn Nets. MacLeod Bridges, known as Brooklyn Bridges, is a string bean clocking in at 6'6" and 209 pounds. That's 198 centimeters, 94 kilograms. The athletic skill that MacLeod demonstrates above all is endurance. He is a long-distance warrior. MacLeod Bridges led the NBA with 83 games played in the 2023 season. That's significant because there are only 82 games in an NBA season. Bridges was traded mid-season from Phoenix to Brooklyn. Thanks to the timing of the trade and the details of the two teams' schedules, he actually ended up being available for and playing in one more game than is actually possible to play as an individual NBA team. Our Iron Man Bridges therefore ended up leading the league with 224 total miles traveled in the 2023 regular season. That averages out to 2.7 miles per game, 360 kilometers per season, 4.34 kilometers per game. There's an old phrase in sport that says, availability is the best ability. MacLeod Bridges is currently the NBA's most consistently healthy and available player, having played 392 consecutive games. That's the league's longest active streak. That streak includes his entire NBA career so far. In fact, according to Bridges, the number should be larger than 392 if you count the fact that he has not missed a game since his junior year in high school. MacLeod Bridges would be my pick for an NBA player who would be excellent at long course duathlon. I bet he'd do well at the legendary Powerman Zofingen race in Switzerland, or the excellent American Zofingen race in upstate New York, which was inspired by the Swiss original. So a shout out and a salute to MacLeod Bridges, basketball's Iron Man. Not my phrase, by the way. It was used in news media coverage of his streak. Our next honorable mention has to go out to the man that I am convinced would be the absolute slowest duathlete. Two-time NBA MVP and superstar of the Denver Nuggets, who are currently heading to the NBA Finals, Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic is 6'11 and 284 pounds. That's 211 centimeters and 128 kilograms. Plodding is the verb the novelist might choose to describe Nikola Jokic's behavior as he moves up and down the court. As an NBA fan, I love watching this guy so much because he does not have elite athleticism. When you find a guy who can't jump high and can't run fast, but is one of the best basketball players on the earth, all you can do is tip your cap and then make the observation that he probably would not be good at duathlon. Now it's time for an honorable mention for one player on the Miami Heat, the team that's facing Nikola Jokic's Denver Nuggets in the 2023 NBA Finals. This is going to go to the man at the helm of the ship down in Miami, the best player, and for me, the best potential duathlete on that team, Jimmy Butler. The man they call Hemi Butler is 6'7 and 230 pounds. That's 201 centimeters and 104 kilograms. Jimmy is a 6-time NBA All-Star, was recently awarded the NBA Eastern Conference Finals MVP trophy, and was on the All-NBA second team this season. The key attribute that Jimmy Butler possesses that would make him a great duathlete is more of an intangible than speed, strength, flexibility, or endurance. This guy's got that dog in him. It's his competitive drive that sets Butler apart. He's got that clutch gene. You could rank every NBA player. Best shooter, best dribbler, best rebounder, fastest, best defender, etc. Jimmy Butler wouldn't be in the top 5 of any of those categories. Yet, time after time, he shows those intangible qualities of a winner on the biggest stages. He is the ultimate competitor, former teammate Myers Leonard said of Jimmy Butler in 2020. Jimmy Butler would win a duathlon in the same way that he would win a game of Go Fish or checkers. If it's a competition, he's going to want to win it, and he probably will. This has been the Duathlon Show. Thank you for listening, everybody. Today we explored what NBA player would make the best potential duathlete. It's my intention to do more of these fun thought experiments relating to duathlon in the future, and have some future episodes asking what other types of people might be good or not good at duathlon. I hope you'll join me next time. For now, stay dry, everyone.
You can follow The Duathlon Show on Twitter and YouTube at TheDuathlon Show. Questions or comments? TheDuathlonShow@gmail.com. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a good rating and review on the platform where you found it, and tell your friends. You can support The Duathlon Show by donating at ko-fi.com/TheDuathlonShow.